So I have my own Rob sidewalk story. Uh, Somewhere between October 2000, holy cow, October 2008, right? And between October 2008 and April 1st, 2009, coming out of the Search for Common Ground office, I think either to lunch or coming back from lunch or to a meeting or coming back from a meeting, we were on DuPont Circle. It was a nice warm day, and I had just spent probably 4 or 5 months with Rob. Same thing, doing something else, had a lunch, got inspired, got pulled into a volunteer activity, was in a bunch of conference calls, then got work assigned to me, right?
And wrote the first check.
Right, wrote the first check. And we were walking, and he said, and there was no convergence. There was no word convergence. Actually, Tom Dunn facilitated the half-day retreat that created the word convergence as the name of that organization that didn't exist at that point. And Rob turned to me and he said, "Would you like to help me change the world?" He meant it. I'd not been asked that before. I said, sure, why not? So I'm back in the private sector now. When I left Convergence, and after a year of consulting, I met my business partner, now business partner. And when we started working together, he and I had some very frank conversations. And in one of those conversations, he said to me, "Do you know what the likelihood of success is?" I was like, "No." He said, "Most business research will tell you 90% of startups fail the first year. Of those startups who get through year one, 90% of those fail. And of the ones who get through year two, on 80% of those fail. That's 0.64% left. And here we are at year 10. Right? When we started, I don't think year 10 was in the picture. I think 10 months was in question. And here we are at year 10. That's a pretty proud moment. And all the sacrifice along the way that we took on, that people who worked with us took on, our families took on, we're 10 years in to that sacrifice paying off, not just for us, but for our country, which is huge. I have a friend from business school. His enthusiasm and hope for the future of America since 2016 is as strong as mine was before 2016. Right? So his view of what's going to make America great is so far different from where I thought we were in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. But his hope is strong as my disheartenment is strong. But we were in the reverse, right? But we talk a lot. Every election cycle, we pick up the phone, call each other, and talk it through. So we actually believe in a principle that's embodied in the vision of our organization. We haven't killed each other. That's good. We're working through a huge amount of fundamental differences in assumption, talking it through, and little by little, we do find some places where we agree. Eventually. So it takes time, but it works. At a micro level, as much as it works at the macro level that we operate in. I spend a lot of time in North Carolina now. I've actually taken the time to drive around the cities, I've driven the state, I've been in places that, really bad things are happening. And I've taken the time to get to know a lot of people who see me as a very different person than who they are. So I think it's easy to get disheartened. I think it's easy to feel like it's going in the wrong direction. But our country made it through the revolution, the Civil War. We went from slavery to civil rights, went from no suffrage to mass participation in voting. We actually have made it through quite a bit, and at turning points, as I understand our history, dialogue was central to making those turning points occur. It's just not visible because there's no media attention on it. The result or the fight before are what get the media attention. And so in North Carolina, I live my nonprofit values daily. In my business, with my business partner, who we disagree every day, I live my nonprofit values daily. I apply the skills and techniques we've learned that you built, Rob, daily. And I don't think there's another moment in our history today where this value set isn't more important to promote. I think people want it. I think people are hungry for it. I think they believe in it deeply, but no one's put a name as a technique and as a tool to problem solve. But I think they believe in it. And so I do my best, having left Convergence, to promote what it is that we do, in what I practice, in what I preach, how I live, how I make money. And I think we can all do that in our own respective professional and personal commitments. So I actually am not disheartened. I think we're on the right path. I think Convergence has an enormous story to tell. I think we have a track record to be very proud of. It is extraordinary to come here today and listen to that about Congress, and listen to that about reentry readiness and where that's going, and Russell's project, and where the budget reform effort eventually went, where long-term care is coming back. It is so heartening to come back and see that. We weren't going to make 10 months. We couldn't pay the bills first year. And here we are. So congratulations, Rob, to all of us. Each of you had your sidewalk moment with Rob, too, that I did. That's why you're all here. And I think this is, although it's 10 years in, there was a world before Rich and a world after Rich. There's a world before Gene, there'll be a world after Gene. There wasn't a world without Stuart, and there won't be until, if Stuart ever leaves. And if Doozy wasn't there, there wouldn't be a leg to stand on. And if Rachel wasn't egging her dad on from behind the scenes, keeping it humorous, who knows where we might be, right? So it's a collective effort. We should be proud of. I am of where this is. I think the next 10 years will be awesome, because the country wants it. We just have to get out there and give it to them. So thank you.